Hey guys, it's Cole, and let's talk in this video about the impact of the healer damage kit changes coming in Dawntrail, because I have seen a lot of controversy, which I do believe has quite a bit of justification around the damage kits, namely stuff like, hey, why is this only a 2-minute cooldown? Or that the other effects are marginal, or wait, why does Sage get Miasma too, and Scholar doesn't? Why is Energy Drain still 100 potency, and that means that Dissipation being used in the opener, which is a pretty big sacrifice in your kit to make because it locks off fairy abilities, why is that only adding 300 potency of damage? If you want to get up to date with all the media tour coverage, as I was a part of the media tour, I do want to say all my coverage and changes that I do have videos on, if you want one source to easily access all of my coverage, head over to my website, FFXIV, and everything is laid out there, labeled and super easy to access. Link is going to be in the description and the pinned comment to it. Okay, now it is time to take off the healer gloves, because we are going to be talking about the damage kits. So the main example, and one that I do feel quite personally as a Scholar main, is that I'm going to bring up Scholar's Baneful Impaction, which is the new addition to Scholar's damage portion of their kit. This is one single off GCD weave that follows Chain Stratagem, and that has a 2-minute cooldown, so by proxy this is 2-minute cooldown. So Scholar quite literally has one off GCD weave every 2 minutes for their damage kit going into Dawntrail. Astrologian has a very similar effect in their Oracle ability that follows Divination, is going to be a single off GCD weave every 2 minutes. Although you can say Astrologian did get the significant card rework, and Lord of Crowns is now a guaranteed every 2-minute pull, and that they do have the balance and spear cards up every minute that you could argue is a part of their damage kit that you toss on other DPS. White Mage gets to basically cast 3 glares, but now they're called Glare 4, and they are still going to be on GCD casts, and they're going to feel really the same. Like, if we're looking very cynically looking at it, it will feel very similar to old Glare cast on the GCD, kind of going to feel the same. So yeah, that's definitely what White Mages are saying. Easily the healer that got the most damage rotation additions with Dawntrail's Media Tour information is now the Sage, in that it has Eucration Discratia bun, which applies a damage over time effect that stacks with our currently existing Eucration Dosis, and that is going to be a significant, very significant damage potency higher than a Dosis cast, so you could use this during a single target encounter as well. It doesn't need to just be an AoE ability, and so you maintain those 2 damage over time effects at all times. The Sage also got Psyche, which is going to be an off GCD ability that they get to cast every minute. That is just straight up direct damage. So one could very easily argue that Sage got double the off GCD weaves of Scholar here, for example, just with the Psyche ability. So if we wanted to be super incredibly direct, probably too direct, but Sage is the job that could no doubt have said to have won in terms of damage kit additions in Dawntrail. Comparing it to Scholar does, I confess, raise a little bit of a pain point, because Scholar could have absolutely gotten Miasma 2 back. We used to have it, and many more dots, but now Sage has it and we don't, and so don't think that I'm not feeling a little bit of that myself, because I am. Don't think just because I'm making a video and have a YouTube channel that I'm not feeling that myself. I am. Sage also has had Phlegma charges, yes, the Phlegma balls, and they feel good to use, as well as Sage has always had Pneuma, which is going to be that heal and damage combo option ability, which Pneuma has always felt really good to pop. You get it with Zone Pneuma, it feels really good. Obviously Scholar has things that feel really good, like few things compared to literally invalidating a mechanic with a big crit low barrier. Wait, I didn't say invalidating a mechanic, please don't nerf me. Please. I just had to edit out my laughing there. Please don't nerf me, bro. But for the Scholar, we do have Energy Drain, which feels unique, and I do like the off GCD effect of it. It's just like, hey, you're going to spend Aetherflow stacks and have that juggling and option ability. I think that that is super engaging. I always like when I'm given a choice, and I'm not necessarily funneled into something. Like, that's one of the reasons why I like the new Seraphism ability that the Scholar got, but this is not a Seraphism or healing kit video, so we'll talk about that later. But it does feel so when you realize that Energy Drain is 100 potency per, and that full Dissipation combo, like you dismiss your fairy, you have locked off Seraph, you've locked off all your fairy skills, that amounts to 300 potency of damage when you're just using it for energy drains. Which obviously, guys, I still recommend if you can get away with it, use it, because that's still a damage addition, but it feels kind of really sussy when you compare it to like even just one single cast of Broil. That's a pretty steep trade-off for a questionable payoff, which is obviously worth it in an opener, or if you don't need the fairy abilities, or if the fairy abilities are on cooldown, or you just needed to throw Dissipation for a barrier. Like, you get what what I mean, guys. I just want to be very clear. Dissipation's very good skill. Now, this next point is very important. Like, I cannot emphasize how important this is. My Q&A video, however, was unfortunately buried, so not many people heard it, and you can access it on my FFXIV website. I have it very much there, but the developers stated very importantly that the fact is 7.0, they are looking at reworking and updating combat encounters and rewards from combat encounters, and that they are looking at job identity going forward into 8.0, and they didn't want to combine combat difficulty changes alongside the job identity changes, because that may be just way too jarring. So this is incredibly important to note. But fundamentally, I want to take a step back here and acknowledge that the developers have clearly taken steps towards enhancing the number of damage skills in all of the healers' kits. Every single healer has at least one new damage button of some sort. Yeah, I would honestly say at this point, Sage is definitely the winner in terms of damage kit complexity, and it isn't even close. And likewise, I know this alone is going to attract a lot of people to the Sage. And rightfully so. Especially in easier content, there is a lot of questionability around, hey, when I'm in an expert roulette, do I really not want more damage options? I think even me playing Scholar so much, I think that it will be a hard thing to not take Sage instead into an expert dungeon. Sorry, I'm not trying to be rude or too blunt when I say that, but I definitely think that when I'm doing an expert dungeon, I would see myself taking Sage instead of Scholar just for this. And that's not even getting into the little nuance points, like chain stratagem only affects a single target still. I'm not even talking about that. I'm just talking from a gameplay aspect. Sage has so many more options for it that an expert dungeon would be significantly more interesting. However, going forward into the future, based on more feedback that we give to developers, we may see further additions to the damage portions of the kit across all the healing jobs going into 8.0 and beyond. Now, being a Scholar main, which I'm still going to be one, I also like to view Scholar's kit getting Seraphism as a huge win, because Seraphism is only completely bonkers as heck, and what the heck is this ability? I kind of view Seraphism as the developer saying, Scholars, we still do love you. We still do love you, even though we gave the DOTs more to the Sage. My Miasma too. Why? But being quite serious, at least on Scholar, we did get one off-GCD effect that does apply damage over time to the target and does have a level of interaction with Chain Stratagem, which are two pieces of feedback I myself have raised and won in the past. Interaction with Chain Stratagem and a damage over time effect, and so Baneful Impaction does address those two in a healthy way forward, in my opinion. But I do see it as baby steps forward, but the thing is, the trajectory is there for 8.0, guys, is what I'm trying to kind of say. People will ask me this, have already asked me this. Do I want to see Miasma 2 come back to Scholar? Since I see the Sage gets it, yeah bro, of course I do. But I'm thinking the developers held back on it specifically because of the Scholar button bloat. If we're very serious here, Sage and the Eucrasia system flips the exact same keybinds into new ones, so Dosis becomes Eucrasian Dosis, same for Prognosis Dosis, and now Dyscrasia, and I feel that may have weighed on the choices made here. Much as I myself would be ecstatic to see Scholar get Miasma 2 back, and do hope that Scholar at some point, if this expansion gets it back, can they add it before Dawntrail, please? But yeah, I think right now, Sage is definitely the DPS I'm taking through any of the simpler forms of content. Scholar is going to be my #1 for raids and my main. Absolutely, I love Scholar so much. But I really think that we need to look towards the future, and the developers did add damage buttons. They did. They didn't subtract, they added them, and so looking to 8.0, I do feel more optimistic.